Well, thank you, Shab. And who says this guy isn't running for president? Republicans say he's handing out goodies as if he already is president. What Biden is selling that'll have you worrying, because Joe isn't spending his money. Newsflash, he is spending yours. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and Sheriff Joe is back. Remember him, the guy who was supposed to be our cash cop?
We've taken to calling him the sheriff, because nobody messes with Joe.
He called me Sheriff Joe. Well, I still got my badge on.
To ensure tax dollars are going towards the intended purposes of creating jobs and aren't being wasted.
And we know some of this money is going to be wasted.
Think about that. We know some of this money is going to be wasted. Now that, by the way, was an understatement, because a whole lot of that money was in fact wasted on everything from ramps to nowhere. And nearly $2 million on ant research. Millions more for turtle crossing. Turtles are happy. I don't know about you. More money spent on Coke monkeys. These guys were wired to the hilt. Even to study voter perceptions of said stimulus itself. And now Joe wants more of our dough.
To invest in infrastructure, build.
Money watcher Craig Smith says this isn't Sheriff Joe. This is Barney Fife with our bucks. Craig, yikes.
That's being kind, calling him Barney Fife. I mean, we're on the 5-year anniversary of the stimulus plan, and the New York Times says it's not a way to create a recovery. Wall Street Journal says it's not a way to create a recovery. And you know, Neil, I went through all the papers trying to find the pluses and the minuses. And this administration, I have it right here, the White House website says this has been a spectacular recovery and a spectacular stimulus. We have saved or created 1.6 million jobs a year. Neil, if you look at what John Taylor is saying and some of the more noted economists, this thing was a failure. It was doomed from the get-go. We should bail out of it now, not spend another penny. And I have a plan, Neil, that will get this economy back on track tomorrow without one penny coming from the government.
And what's that?
Well, it's simple, and you know it, Neil. We don't need any cash right now. The government doesn't have to go out and borrow money and go spend money. We have corporations that have the best balance sheets we've seen in years. We have personal balance sheets are in good shape. You've got banks that have got tons of money. We need confidence. We need the president to come out to say, for the next 2 to 5 years, I'm going to put away my pen and shut off my cell phone. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to keep everything as is. Matter of fact, I'm going to flatten your taxes. I'm going to give you absolute certainty for 5 years. We're going to get these regulations off your back, and we're going to give you, if you will, the free rein to go out and create an economy that we obviously can't get stimulated.
But Craig,
Neil,
what happened when you woke up?
Neil, that would create the biggest boom we've seen in this country.
I kid you only to make the point that your points are well taken. But obviously that is not the route this administration wants to go. And you could argue that by pushing stimulus that benefits key constituent groups, this is as political as it is economic. In fact, very little economic value here.
Absolutely, Neil. I mean, if you want to talk about a political slush fund and to create more crony capitalism, this has been a raving success. I mean,
well, there was also the little detail of there's no money to strategically invest. I always like this concept: we must strategically invest our funds. We don't have funds to strategically or unstrategically. The well is dry.
Right. And so, yeah, well, and that's the point. We don't have the money, so why don't we go to where the money is? The banks have the money. You've got corporations that have the money. Why do we continue to hold on to this?
They're going to where the money is by taxing guys like you, by taxing banks. That's where they think they can get the money, and not necessarily spurring their investment, but just, you know, hitting them up.
But you know, as I do, that doesn't work, Neil. Look, we've had 2.4% average GDP through the last 5 years. Okay, under Reagan, when he cut taxes, and I know nobody wants to hear about Ronald Reagan, okay, we had a 4% growth rate. Now, yes, Ronald Reagan did increase deficits, just like Obama's doing. But we got some bang from our buck. Our research shows that we got 29 cents worth of benefit for every dollar that we spent on stimulus. That would not fly with private business, Neil.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's why if we would just get rid of this Keynesian theory that if the government spends enough money, we'll be okay.
Keynesian to you, my friend, but you've got the turtle lobby very upset. They're on line 1 when you get off the air, young man. Craig Smith, always a pleasure. Thank you very, very much.
Good seeing you, Neil.
Forget about if at first.